Yes, ma'am.
Well, I actually have a statement first, but I have two questions. The statement is that I think that for me, I was taught to get it together. Just get it together. That's what you do in life. And I think that one of the reasons why this experience or this journey is so hard is because everything is all over the place. And so how do you get it together when everything's just spilling all the way everywhere? I think it's messy for me. It's a lot of just stuff everywhere, figuratively and physically.
But for you, the way you get it together is you let it fall all apart.
Okay.
Literally let it fall apart. Don't try to hold on to anyone or anything or any imagination or any thoughts or anything. Fall apart. Because that's what the problem is now. You've been trying to hold on to things. And you can't love the world, even the dark world inside yourself and the dark world outside yourself, inside of others. You got to fall apart.
But if something's falling apart, like let's talk about a dresser, let's talk about a bike. If a bike or a dresser is falling apart, you throw it away. You do. You don't want it anymore. Nobody wants a falling apart dresser. It doesn't function well. I'm just saying, like, there's a...
But that's a physical thing. I mean, if you need to repair a physical thing, that's fine. Okay. But I'm talking spiritual.
Right.
Spiritually, you have to fall apart from all thoughts, all emotions, because all emotions are evil. All ideas are evil. So you have to let all that fall apart.
Okay. Okay.
But physical things, you put it back together. If you can't, if not, throw it away.
So my question, one question that I have is about the reference to animals. And God gave us a mind. He even talks about the mind of Christ in the Bible. And so I think that the mind is what distinctly separates us from other animals in the world. So I guess for me, I'm trying to wrap my mind around what do we do with our mind, this beautiful mind that God gave us that makes us so different than other animals? Like, what did he give us this for if it's only to be tricked? But now he doesn't trick us, but if it's only to be tricked.
I understand. Amazing question. And this young lady dying to answer it. And then I'll put my 2 cents in.
Could you repeat the question?
God gave us this beautiful mind. And what is this mind good for if only to trick us? Am I right by that?
Yes.
Why God gave us his mindset and now it's just tricking us. What are we supposed to do with it?
We're supposed to focus on him and stay present. And he will lead our mind where he wants it to go, is what I'm beginning to understand. And of course, that's much easier said than done.
When you say focus on him, how do you focus on him?
Well, not necessarily focus on him, but by focusing on being present, we are focusing on him. So being present, which, I mean, speaking for myself, I remind myself hundreds, probably thousands of times per day to get back. I mean, I am in my head so often. I never knew how. Before I came here, I was probably in my head 98.9% of the time. I don't think I lived in reality in any way, shape, or form. So it is a constant struggle, and that's a part of this that makes it so difficult where it is. I understand why people sit in a church and hear a sermon and think that walking up and saying, I receive Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and that's all we need to do, is the answer. I get that, because no one wants to, we're talking about, you're dealing with these little demons, but wait until you deal with the big guy. I face little demons every day, and it's enough to allow me to see. I just was in an incident a few days ago that could have turned into a road rage incident, not on my part, but on the other driver. I didn't even know I'd done something, and this driver responded in a way that was very violent, like could have led to a violent situation. I ended up having to call the police department. But
so what do we do with the mind now? It's so beautiful.
Yeah, because if you just stay conscious, I mean, Birds and bees do that because they don't have an opportunity to do anything else. They don't have the mind that we have.
Birds and bees stay conscious?
I mean, I don't know if they stay conscious, but I don't think that because they don't have the mind that we have, they don't have an option of doing anything else other than just focusing on what's in front of them.
That's what
what makes
to do they just build to eat bees.
Yeah, like that's what makes us so distinctly different.
Whatever they eat, made honey.
But that's what makes us different.
Else.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what makes us distinctly different is the mind. Our mind
is. Notice human beings can't do anything else either but what they do. And all they do is just repeat the same thing over and over again. Nothing new. Just like an animal. They'll get a divorce and say, oh, this person's better than that one I was with, and end up with the same person. Oh. You know what I mean? Human beings are like animals that they repeat the same cycle over and over and over again, thinking that they're getting something new and better.
So what's the mind for?
Amazing.
What's the mind?
Okay. You want to respond to? Yes, sir. What's the mind for?
The mind, just like the intellect, is a tool that God gives us, similar to a hammer, and we use it, and we're supposed to use it like we would a tool and then put it down when we're done with it, not try to live by a hammer. If you walk around with a hammer all the time, people look at you like you're crazy because you're supposed to use it as a tool and then put it down when you're done with it and live within.
Okay. Amazing. Yes, sir. And then I'll respond because of time. Go ahead.
I was going to say exactly that, what he said, but my hand was raised for a different...
For something? Oh, okay. I'll come back to you. Yeah, I'll come back to you. What's the mind for if we can't use it? It's so beautiful, given to us by God.
I don't know. I don't know if I know that answer. Yeah. I don't know.
Have you ever noticed how crazy your mind is?
Yes.
It's a mess, huh?
Yes.
Amazing. The mind is a terrible thing to save. Yes, ma'am. I saw one hand.
I always say our mind is our worst enemy.
Yep.
That's I've lived by, like always thinking that way, that it's our worst enemy.
Yes, it is. It's your enemy.
Yeah.
And the reason it's your enemy because Satan lives in there. He lives in the imagination. He lives in thought. That's why God said, bring every thought into captivity. Every thought into captivity. What will happen though, just like Satan is dictating the mind right now, Satan makes you do everything you do. He makes you think everything you think. He makes you act out everything you do. He's controlling the mind. And so what's going to happen if you stay with it, God will give you a clear mind. He will give you a clear mind, and then his spirit, his nature will dictate the mind because the devil will be gone. And you will use the mind properly. And I highly recommend the worst thing you can do right now is use the mind. Stop using your mind. Do practical things, make your dinner, buy your food, blah, blah, blah. But freedom is living without using the mind. If you stop using your imagination right now, you can be free. This very instant. If you never used it again, you would never have another pain. And God will give you a clear mind. And his clear mind, there's nothing to think about. There's nothing to worry about. You just do because you can see. You just simply live your life, and life is happening for you. You don't have to make it happen. You will have a clear mind, where Satan will give you a dark mind. So that's why you have to die from the imagination. So when you overcome that, you won't use your mind as an animal nature. You will just live your life, and the light of the Father will guide you. And you won't have to do anything.
So he gave it to us for him.
He gave you to us because we were created in his image.
I see.
The real you up here is in his image, but you've been living down here in an unconscious state. and you don't remember what you used to be as a kid.
Okay. The only other question that I had, and we had an opportunity to talk about this, a group of women, but what is that natural draw that women have to being connected or desire a very strong man if your journey is just going to be alone? Why have that draw, that seduction, or whatever that is?
To be with a man.
To being with a strong man.
God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, woman over children. It's the order. And it's natural for a woman to want, as long as she doesn't do it in an unnatural way. Because in her fallen state, she can overdo that. But in her risen state, she can want for her husband in the right way. But if she doesn't get one, it's fine too.
I see.
She'll still be, the same God that's taking care of the men will take care of her. That's why the women, even if they are married or thinking about getting married, you still have to work on yourself. Because if you don't, let's say you get with a man who is working on himself, you're going to destroy that man, trying to get something from him. But if you have God, you'll be with that man, it'll be natural, and you wouldn't try to get anything from him because you already have love, which is from God. But all that will become clear if you were to stay on the path. It will be made clear to you. Wisdom will come. But as long as you're your imagination, you're an emotional person, anger, feel good, feel this, you're never going to know God. But it will be made clear when you abandon the imagination.